It's time to build another gaming PC, and this one is very special. It's going to a good friend of mine and business partner, not YouTube related. His name is Bo, and some of you OGs might remember him from very old videos on this channel. We built him a bare bones, something like $300 system. I think it was a Core 2 Quad CPU and some other stuff we found on eBay, I believe. It was, yeah, bare bones to say the least, but it was good enough for what he was expecting given the money he spent. This was a tough one. I will not lie, because the market right now is so messed up. Case in point, the graphics card. We spent a lot of time brainstorming possible graphics card choices for this over $1,000 budget, and I've got to say, the B580 was not originally on my list, like at all. It wouldn't have been my second, third, fourth, or fifth choice. Not that it's a bad graphics card, but it doesn't really make sense in a rig that's gonna cost, well, north of $1,000 bucks, probably somewhere around $1,200, $1,300 all in. But the problem is the graphics card market sucks right now. You can't find anything for a reasonable price from either Team Red or Team Green. I really wanted to give them an AMD graphics card. Something like a 7800 XT I think would have been a nice middle ground for, again, this caliber budget. But even if you could find a 7800 XT in stock, which good luck, you're gonna be spending over MSRP on it. And that's already a last gen product. Where's the logic in that? That said, some other choices I am very happy that Bo made. He wanted an Intel Core Ultra 5. This is a 245K. It's a great CPU. It is only a Core i5, but it's gonna be awesome for gaming. He doesn't do much more beyond that and didn't want to spend more. Just didn't make sense, again, given his workload. The Gigabyte Z890 Eagle Wi-Fi 7 is gonna be a great pairing for the chip, and we've got 32 gigs of G.Skill DDR5 to boot. Now, since he does primarily game, storage is obviously crucial. No pun intended. This is a 1 terabyte box, but I'm giving him a 2 terabyte Crucial NVMe. That's going to be perfect for at least the operating system and a few larger Steam games. He also has another Steam drive that he's going to migrate from his older system. I do recommend having a second drive just for games because, again, it's so easy to migrate from rig to rig. As for power, we wanted to play it safe. A Corsair RM850X should do the trick. This is going to be plenty for this system, more than enough. We could probably get away with something like a 600 watt, to be honest, especially if you're not doing hardcore overclocking, but 850 will give him breathing room if he ever wants to upgrade his graphics card in particular down the line. For cooling, we'll be using a Scythe Mugen 6, actually a carryover from a different build. I don't have the original box for that cooler, which is why it's not on the table, but rest assured it should be plenty for a 245K. And lastly, our case. Corsair sent over a Frame 4000 for this build, and I'm excited because I've heard great things about it. It's definitely a different take on a traditional mid-tower, and I think it's gonna look really good when paired with all of this additional hardware. Only time will tell though. Let's get to building. I hope you'll stay with me. Are you sitting on a gaming PC without an activated copy of Windows? Forget $100+ retail keys. Instead, snag an OEM Windows 10 or 11 key for a fraction of the price to unlock the full potential of the OS. Oh, and don't worry, they'll still remove those pesky activation watermarks. Click the links below to get started today and easily activate with your key under the Activation tab within Windows Settings. And be sure to use our special offer code SKGS for a sweet discount on a variety of options, including Windows 10 and 11, Pro and Home, and more. Here is what we'll need to get started. I think we can handle most of this completely toolless thanks to the design of this motherboard. So we'll start by revealing the socket. It's brand new. We'll just check the pins to make sure everything is okay. Now we can open up our 245K. Again, I think Bo's gonna be pretty happy with this CPU, especially for the price paid. This is a 14-core CPU. 6 of those are performance cores. Again, should be plenty for modern gaming, and even comes with overclocking support if that is his cup of tea. I don't think it is. It's certainly not mine, but he has that option. 2 sticks of DDR5 is ideal for this budget. 16 gigs apiece. 32 is pretty much the minimum now for modern gaming, and these are plenty fast given the price we paid. Oh, come on. There we go. Also really like how sleek and low profile these DIMMs are to give him more flexibility if he upgrades his CPU cooler to something even beefier later, or if he wants to migrate to a different platform. Now again, I think our M.2 install will be totally toolless. Yep. First we'll carefully insert it here. You can see plastic removed from the underside of this heat slab. If I don't show this, I'll be screamed at in the comment section. And we're gonna gently slide this back in place. And again, totally toolless. Next on the list was the Scythe Mugen 6. I threw this in for Bo. I had plenty of CPU coolers on hand and his ended up being delayed. This is a great price, around 35, 40 bucks or so. It does come with 2 fans, but we're gonna install a rear exhaust fan in the case. I don't want 2 fans right next to each other. It could create additional turbulence and additional noise, and you won't notice the difference performance-wise. So we're only gonna install one of the 2 Scythe fans. We'll take care of the additional case fans a bit later. Set up with this cooler on an LG 1851 socket, by the way, is a piece of cake, if you couldn't already tell. Just don't want to forget to connect the fan. This is a pretty sweet looking platform, not gonna lie, digging the gray and black aesthetic, but just a hint of blue in the eagle lettering near the top left of the board. I think it's about time we install this into the case and set up some basic wiring. After spending just a few minutes with the Corsair Frame 4000, I've got to say I am impressed thus far. Plenty of airflow. You can see just how porous the front panel is. I love the unique design of the front panel, and it actually extends to other portions of the case as well. You can see even this cover in front of the basement is fully perforated, which is super cool. And there's so much hardware support in here. I think you can fit a 360 up front and up top, up to a 140 at the rear, and even fans atop the basement. That said, I'm sure we'll discover more as we continue building. So we'll drop in the platform here very gently. Integrated rear I/O shield, so nothing to worry about on that front. And let's just get it lined up. Oh yeah, looking pretty good so far. I promised Bo an aesthetically pleasing build, and I definitely think we're off to the right start. Next up, it's a perfect chance to install some fans. It's no secret Bo loves his RGB, so we've got 4 RX 120s to throw into this chassis. It should also be noted this Frame 4000 can be spec'd with either non-RGB or RGB fans. Of course, the one that we were sent came with none, which gave us a bit of flexibility. One thing I really like about this model is that when combined with other fans like it, it can be wireless. You just clip them together like so, piece of cake. We'll just quickly slide fan brackets from the 140-160 position in the chassis over to 120. It's that easy. As expected, install on this chassis was a breeze, and yes, we could add 3 additional 120s up top, but I don't feel it's justified here, especially given the cost of each one of these Corsair fans. Even the 3-pack is quite expensive, so adding 3 additionals for this caliber of builds are gonna have great airflow just doesn't make a ton of sense. So much support in the Frame 4000. Frankly, the build going in here is probably a bit underkill for its capabilities, but it's still gonna look super awesome and again have great airflow. The next piece of the puzzle, one of the last, is our power supply, the RM850X. We're gonna install that at the bottom and then get everything wired up. This unit supports things like 12-volt high power, which we're obviously not gonna need for our Intel B580, but it'd be nice for the future if he ever upgrades. It's also nice that these included cables are sort of like pre-sleeved, so we could just run with an all black look if we wanted. We'll install fan side down here, even though we could do fan side up as well, since the entire basement is perforated. Bo likes neutral colors. Black, white, or silver were his requests, and I happen to have a silver sleeve set here that I think is gonna look sweet when all the LEDs from the fans are reflecting off of them. They almost have sort of like a mirror-like finish, pretty unique for cable extensions, and these have just been sitting in my closet, so I'd rather put them to good use here. Now it's time for a lot of extra cable management. I'll make this look clean for him, even if we won't see this side very often. And now it's time for our Gunner Intel Arc B580. Never worked with the Gunner brand before. Not even sure if I'm saying that right. Gunner? Gunnier? Whatever. We already took a sneak peek at this earlier, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you the unboxing experience minus the anti-static bag. This is pretty much an all blacked out card. So I think, yeah, it's a safe play. It's gonna pretty much work with any build out there, save maybe an all white one. You know what I'd really like to do is surprise them with a vertical bracket. So normally the PCI slot covers sit like this, the way the case arrived, but we can actually rotate it. I think it's this way. And there we go, we have vertical slots. This is a really cool modular case. Let's see, with our Gen 4 riser cable attached, go ahead and slot that into the full-length slot up top. And then I want to situate the card far enough forward such that it doesn't seem depressed when compared to the air cooler. It looks strange when you have a large air cooler and then a card that's kind of like tucked in. I'd like for them both to kind of fill out the empty space. And this is nowhere near close enough to the left side panel to massively affect temps. Oh yeah, this was definitely the way to go. Look at how clean that looks. Bit of a tight fit for our supplemental PCIe cables, but nothing to worry about. Let's pop these panels back on. And here we are, completed build, and took a few turns I wasn't expecting. Turning the graphics card vertical is a very subjective thing, I understand, and a lot of folks would tell you just to remove the failure point right in the riser cable. A lot of these have issues long term, but if we don't see anything when we set up Windows and of course install graphics drivers, then I think it's safe to say this should be fine for several years. Elsewhere, everything else was very smooth sailing, and that was largely thanks to the Frame 4000. Corsair's done a fantastic job with this chassis. Really glad we went with this case for this build. Everything else just kind of fell into place voice naturally. The color scheme works great. Love the cable extensions. About ready to power this thing on. But before we do, how about we hear from the man himself? This isn't my build. This is, of course, going to my good friend Bo, and well, his opinion is the only one that matters to me. So let's try to FaceTime him and see if we can't get his reaction live on camera. Yo, what's up, Bo?
What's up, man? What's up?
Well, I've got a PC build here for you that I think you'll like. I think you'll be happy with the task you've commissioned me with. So you ready for the reveal?
Oh, absolutely, man.
All right, here she goes. Let me click the flip around button here. What do you think?
Dude, it looks good. I like that, man. It's neutral right now, too.
Hey, now that I'm thinking about it, can you give me a quick pan to your current system just so the viewers can see where you're coming from?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Woo!
It's a little janky, a lot of stuff reset on it, you know. A little dusty in there, too. It's probably what? I mean, it's got to be 7 years old at this point.
Wow.
I mean, just about it.
That's awesome, though.
It's gone through a couple moves with me.
Yeah, and it's still chugging along. Look at that.
Matter of fact, I think this is a case you painted way back in the day.
Oh, dude, the black and white one. I recognize that basement.
Yeah.
That is wild. Wow. All right, man, I'll let you go. Hey, thanks for being on video, and thanks for the candor.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the build, Greg.
No worries, man.
See ya.
Whew. That's relief. Glad he likes it. Bo's not a picky guy by any means, but he spent good money on this. I wanted to make sure that he was impressed not only with the performance, which he'll see later, but also with the looks. Moving on then, let's go ahead and power on. I'm gonna be preemptive and connect our Windows bootable media. So everything is lit up. That's a good sign. Graphics card fans are spinning. CPU cooler fans spinning. There is our post. That's a great start, and it just turned back off. All right. Let's try this again. Sometimes initial boot things act a bit strange. That seems a little healthier now. We have a post. All right. And I think it's going to automatically load into that bootable USB for a Windows install. While this is setting up, a couple points I'd like to make. Firstly, Bo is a fairly tech-savvy individual. He wouldn't refer to himself as such, but just knowing him and the experience he has around tech and gaming PC specifically, I'm comfortable leaving the rig in this sort of like setup state where he just powers it on and then sets up Windows for the first time. I already advised him he's gonna have to install Intel Arc drivers for his graphics card, as well as any additional chipset drivers, maybe LAN or WLAN if he wants to use Wi-Fi. But again, he's done this stuff before. I think it's going to be in safe hands. The second point I'd like to make is that this system is extremely quiet and we haven't tweaked anything in the BIOS. This is a fresh build. Again, I've not even enabled XMP and it's virtually inaudible at idle. I've got my mic here. I'm just going to push this like right in the middle of the system. Pretty incredible how quiet it is. System has restarted a few times. I believe now it should load into the opening welcome screen, and from there he can set up again a fresh install of Windows, which he's happy with because he has a lot of clutter on his current system. Oh, and one more thing while we're waiting, since we're not going to be testing Bo's system specifically, we're just going to again leave a very plain Jane copy of Windows for him to set up from there. I did at the very least want to pull up a 3D Mark Time Spy average score for this combination of hardware. Again, that's an Intel Core Ultra 5 245K and an Intel Arc B580 graphics card. This combo, again, on average, scoring better than 71% of all submitted results is pretty darn impressive. A graphics score somewhere in the mid 14,000 range and a CPU score, again, somewhere around 14,000. This suggests that there's not a huge bottleneck one way or the other. Time Spy tends to be pretty good at exposing those bottlenecks one way or the other if the score disparity is great on either side. But since the scores are so similar, I expect that in a majority of titles, we won't see a heavy bottleneck either way. I'm gonna package this up very tightly. We're gonna use some easy packs that expand inside the chassis to keep the graphics card from flopping around. It's gonna be very sturdy in here. And then also going to add a few extra layers of insulation and protection around the case box to make sure that it's not dinged around in shipping. It's not going very far. It's staying within the state of Florida. But yeah, the last thing I'd like to see is a text from Bo saying that his rig arrived in several pieces instead of just one. So let's see, standing up like this, I definitely want to have some padding below the graphics card and above it, but if we lay it flat, then we'd have to have a lot of padding like underneath the card, like behind it, between it and the motherboard. I actually think I'm gonna take this out and put it in its box and package that up separately. Maybe we can actually fit the box in here and then put like the expandable foam stuff in the chassis on top of that. I think that's actually our best option. Like I said, Bo's fairly tech savvy. He knows how to connect a graphics card. Just disconnect all of this, pull the card out. So we'll do this first pack below. Gosh, this is hot. Not really supposed to touch this. And then we'll do the graphics card here. All right, we took the basement out. It's all fully modular. And then we'll do another pack on top and tightly press the left side panel on. This thing, yeah, is not going anywhere. And here we go. Round 2. Quickly, quickly, quickly. All right, yeah, she's expanding. Look at that. Yep, this thing is super sturdy now. Back in you go. Easy does it. Whew. It's on its way to you, buddy. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to build a system just like this, I'll have all of these parts linked in the description, tied to affiliate accounts like Amazon and Newegg. We get small kickbacks if you buy anything through there. Thank you very much for that support. And again, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, leaving a comment, and checking out those links. My name is Greg. Thanks for building with me.